Good evening. I was told that my life should be like a sitcom. And at first I just thought that was an over-exaggeration. But then as I thought about it, after all the things that I've seen, done, and even experienced, I believe that I have a lot of stories that can probably be sitcom worthy. Probably like later on in the future I might share some more. But for right now I just want to just share one. A long time ago, I used to work at Blockbuster, and around this time, I was about a 6-year veteran. I was working there for like a very long time, and at that time, I really enjoyed it. This was before the whole drama started. And about 7 o'clock p.m. on a Sunday, it was very dark in the area that I was working at, and me and one other person, my manager at the time, and I will keep her name confidential just in case. She and we were working all by ourselves in a big store. So I was in the lobby. I was putting back all the movies, while she was in the on the checkout counter, just checking the movies back in, so therefore I can come and pick them up and put them back in the lobby, and did what we like to call a facing the store. So we were just making them look all proper, so when the time comes for us to close, all we had to do was just clean up and wipe down the counters, and that was it, and then we could go home. But as we were doing our nightly routine, a guy comes in, and he looked like a straight-up hood rat. And I know don't judge a book by its cover, but he had baggy pants, baggy jacket, an afro that hasn't even seen no comb, so I was watching him. I mean, and not to mention, not only did he look suspicious, he smelled suspicious. I mean, if you have ever smelled somebody that is suspicious, then you have to keep your attention on them. So I just was still doing my nightly routine, but at the same time I was keeping my eye on him. But then another guy comes in, and he looked like, looked normal, looked like a normal customer, had a windbreaker on and a cap on. So I didn't pay him too much attention. I kept my eye on the hood rat. But then he comes up to me, and he's like saying, "Hey, sir, do you have this movie, Devil in a Blue Dress?" And, me being the person I am, I was doing my whole customer service kick. So I was like saying, "Yes, sir, absolutely. Come right over here. I'll find it for you." And, I did my whole thing for him, and he was looking for another movie, and I helped him look for that one as well. So then he looked up, he was starting to go to the front counter, like he was about to check out. So I saw that my manager, she was still, doing her thing, so I didn't want her to stop what she was doing, so I decided to take care of the customer myself. So while I was behind the counter, and I was about to check the movies out to the customer, and he looked behind me, like he was like trying to read the signs behind me, and he was saying, "I was wondering if you have, and I looked back to see what he was looking at, and then all of a sudden I heard, "Get down." And I was wondering, what did you say? I looked back, and I had a gun pointed at my waist. I don't know what kind of gun it was. I don't even know if it was real, but all I know was it was a gun pointed at my waist. So he said, "Get down." So I was, needless to say, nervous because I didn't know what was going on, but I was more angry than I was scared, because this was like 6 to 7 years that I was working, and non-stop, no vacations, nothing like that. I hardly had any days off, and then this happened. It just seemed like the irritation never ends. So I get on the ground. My manager looked at me like wondering, what the heck am I doing? And she thought I was going, just about to do like something nuts, because I'm known to do things like that, just lay on the ground for absolutely no reason at all. Don't tell my parents, because, they'll get on me about that. And then she sees this guy come around the counter, and he had the gun, and then she realized, oh my gosh, this is serious. So she gets on the ground with me. So I didn't realize that at first. But then the hood rat was with this guy that was trying to hold the store up. So we were on the ground, trying to not trying to make any trouble, but at the same time trying to wonder like what to do at this point. So the hood rat comes up into the front door, try to lock it, but he was having trouble with it. Luckily, there was a trick to locking the door, and he didn't know about it. And I don't think he actually thought about like having us lock the door too, just to, just to save him the trouble. And after he kept on going back and forth on the front, the camera you can see he was caught on camera. And then after like the third time he like went to the front door, he then decides to put on his hood so he doesn't see his face. So anyway, so the robber points a gun at me, and he was like saying, "Open up the register," and I was like, "I can't." I was a CSR at the time, so I had no keys, no no codes, no anything for me to open up the register. And he was like telling me, "Open up the register, open it up." And he thought I was being funny because I was like told him I can't do it. Now I mean, if you want to get like a Coke or candy or something, I can do that, so you can open it up afterwards. But he was thinking I was joking, so he started getting frustrated. And and around this time, that's when people were still coming in, because the hood rat didn't lock the door correctly, so people were still coming in. So, and this is the only time when I appreciated that we had rude, selfish, and retarded customers. So, this one lady comes in, and she was about to drop off her movies, but then she sees me and my manager on the ground, trying, just laying down, like as if, something was wrong. So then she kind of looked suspicious, and then the robber realized that something's up. So he points the gun at the lady, and he said, "Get on the ground. This is Jack. Get on the ground." This lady drops off her movies, gave this guy a dirty look, and then leaves, as if paying no mind. The guy was threatening her. He says, "You want me to blow your head off?" Just walked on out. One side of me, seeing this, was like saying, "You go, girl, show him what's up." The other side said, "Man, this lady's gonna get us killed." And then, right when I didn't think it could get any worse, then a kid comes in. Now the kid was like probably 14 or 15, but he looked old enough to know that if something was up, he probably needed to do something about it. So he comes in, he sees me and my manager on the ground, and he looks at the robber. Robber looking all suspicious and stuff. The kid looks at us, looks at the robber, and looks at us again, looks at the robber, and looks at us again, and then he looked confused. He looked really, really confused. And then the robber didn't want to take any chances, so he points the gun at the kid. He said, "Get on the ground. This is Jack. Get on the ground." The kid looks at the robber and asks him, do we have Tekken Tag for PS2 on the shelf? And the robber still was like, points the gun at the kid. "Get on the ground. This is Jack. Get on the ground." And the kid looks at me, and I'm over here like trying to signal him. He's like, "We're getting robbed. Go get some help. We're getting robbed. Go get some help." The kid looks at me and says, "You guys are not closed, are you?" I was like, okay, we're so gonna die right now. So at this point, I thought we were just goners. The guy was going to start blasting us just because he was getting annoyed. I mean, I probably would have done that if I was the robber. But anyway. So then the robber looks up at the window and starts seeing that the kid's parents was coming in. So and then like as he was like looking, his attention was turned away from the kid decides to go off and, go to the game section and try to find his game that he's looking for. The robber realizes, okay, this is not working. So he puts his gun back in his pocket, walks around from the counter, and then leaves. And the hood rat like waited for the parents to come in, and he leaves too. Now also too, when the parents came in, they did not even notice that me and my manager were on the ground, laying on the ground. They all just moseyed on in and all happy and, "Well, what kind of movie would you like today, honey?" "Oh, I love you too." And I'm on the ground trying to figure out whether the robbers are still in or not. Me and my manager, we looked at each other, and she says, "Just stay down, just stay down." I said, "I don't think they're in the store anymore." So then she says, okay, I'm going to get the customers, get them in the back room, and make sure that they're safe. And I said, okay, I'm going to lock the door. I'm going to call the cops. So then I go and locks the door, call the cops, and my manager was trying very discreetly to get the customers in the back room so they don't get hurt if that was going to happen. Now, usually when you're trying to be discreet about it, you don't go, "What did you say? There's a robbery!" So then afterwards, we finally got the cops up, and basically telling them the whole situation and what happened. And about a week later, after everything was said and done, the kid comes back, and he basically starts talking to me like, "Hey, remember us?" I'm like, "How can I forget you? What is it do you want?" And he wanted to apologize to me because he didn't realize we were getting robbed. So then he says, "I apologize that I didn't realize you guys were getting robbed." Now, if he would have said that and just left it at that, I would have just left it alone. But then he said, "I'm sorry, I didn't realize you guys were getting robbed, but I thought y'all were taking a break." Now, I'm not a hateful person. I'm not a violent person. But after he said that, I wanted to strangle him. I wanted to strangle him so badly. I felt heat come from my hands, and my eyes was seeing red. His mother comes up to me and she goes, Sir, I'm sorry. He's just a little slow." I just said, "Get him away from me, please. Just get him away. Thank you." So after that was said and done, as needless to say, Blockbuster was not my favorite place to work anymore. And I'm kind of glad that they probably all just shut down. But like I said before, I'm not a violent person. I'm not a hateful person. But the whole situation did turn me bitter. And that's one of the stories for my sitcom.